Hello again, this is Alexia. Today we will be looking at how we could solve problems involving mixed units of time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at our task for today, and we're kind of going to go over um, SMP7 before we actually complete the task. So mathematical practice 7 is what we're going to be focusing on today. And it's this task that we're going to be looking at is a bit different in that it asks students to connect a concrete representation of a problem to a written explanation of the solution. And it supports SMP7 using structure to solve a problem. Students might notice specific numbers or an operation in the explanation that help them to match this with the appropriate solution or vice versa. Have students be able to explain their thinking, and it will help them to actually formulate better explanations of their own work. So the objectives for today's task under SMP7 is to find efficient and inefficient strategies to solve the problems, be able to interpret and identify other student thinking, be able to explain their own thinking in detail, and look for and make sense of structure. So here's the problem we're going to be exploring. 3 students were asked to find the sum of 3 days, 12 hours, plus 9 days and 20 hours. They each found the sum a different way, then explained their strategies. Match each student's solution with their explanation by dragging the color card next to the student's solution it matches. So let's go ahead and take a look at the task here. So if we take out one of these sample responses, we see that the students solved it. They gave us their concrete thinking here. And then on the right, we have 3 possible explanations, one of them explaining the thinking of student A. And students will have to match the work with the detailed response here. So the first way that was mentioned in the previous slide was that students analyze the concrete solution here and then match it up to the thinking. So we're going to do that for student A. So it says 3 days, 12 hours, which was the first add-in given, plus 9 days. So that is the unit days of the second add-in being added to give us a total of 12 days, 12 hours. Then what we see happen is that 20 hours is broken down into, you could think of it as a number bond or being decomposed to 12 plus 8. And we see they add the 12 hours first. We can see they did that because 12 hours plus 12 hours gives us 1 day. So they can rewrite 24 hours as 1 day. And that's why we see it going from 12 days to 13 hours. And then we have to add those remaining 8 hours to get 13 days, 8 hours. So as we take a look at the 3 sample responses, we're going to try to find one that kind of explains the thinking of this solution here. I added like units, then took out a day from the total number of hours. No, we didn't see that. I added the days first. We did see that 9 days being added. Next, I completed a day by adding 12 hours. We see that step here. And finally, I knew there were 8 more hours to add on. So it seems like this is the solution, and this is its matching description here. Okay, so again, students can look at the operations first, added days. They can look at the numbers to kind of help them match up the sample with the explanation. Now, another way that students might tackle these questions, we'll take out student B here, and we'll take out the remaining responses here. Another way is that they might read the explanations first and then match it to the student response. I added like units, then took out a day from the total number of hours. We could actually take out students too. I added 10 days because I realized that 9 days. Well, we can kind of see that adding the 10 days matches up here, right? And that this matches with here. But again, students, when doing that, might not really focus as much on what happens. So just remind students to make sure that they read through the statement and they also work out the problem as the student solved it. So let's take a look at student B, and then we'll take a look at student C, which is kind of interesting too. So student B took the two addends and just added up the like units, right? 3 days, 9 days, it's 12 days, 12 hours, 20 hours, 32 hours. We noticed then they created a number bond here, 1 day, which is 24 hours, plus the 8 more hours, and they rewrote the 24 hours as 1 day, and then kind of regrouped those units so we get 13 days, 8 hours. And we have the explanation that matches up. I added like units, then took out a day from the total number of hours. And here for student C, we noticed something interesting happening here. They took 3 days, 12 hours, and added 10 days. Now, for examining student C work, maybe without reading the explanation, we'll be like, that's interesting. I don't know where they got the 10 days from. And they get a total of 13 days, 12 hours. And then we see 4 hours being subtracted. And then we might see some students thinking, I see what they did here. We had 9 days, 20 hours. 20 hours really close to another day, right? We just need 4 more hours and it'll take us to one more day. So I'm guessing that's where they got the 10 days, but it wasn't really exactly 10 days. It was 4 hours less. So then we have to take away 4 hours from the 13 days, 12 hours, right? And thinking back to those efficient strategies, right? This would have been a really much more efficient strategy. In the sense that it required, you could kind of do this mentally in your head. You had really friendly numbers here, right? 3 days plus 10 days, 13 days, and then just carry over those 12 hours and then take away 4 hours. So this is a really efficient strategy, but it might not always work. You might not get a number that's so close to the next unit. So that might be something students want to keep in mind when they have numbers that are close to the next unit. They can round it to the next unit and then take away. All right, well, that brings us to the end of this lesson. I hope this video was helpful in kind of going over SMP 7, which was really the main focus of today's lesson. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.